Hey y'all, so this week we're going to practice creating a composition that is pleasing to the eye by using our principles of design. So there are a couple of things to keep in mind on creating a composition that looks good. And one thing is cropping. So you want to have the least amount of negative space possible. So when you crop an image, you're cropping out that negative space. You also might be zooming in, and when you zoom in and you crop out that negative space, it makes it look a lot more interesting. It makes your brain wonder what is going on in the rest of the picture that I can't see. You also want to keep in mind that you need a focal point. When a viewer is looking at your artwork, they need to know where to look. You want to lead their eye to what is the focus of your picture, what is the point of your picture. So when you have a focal point, it is better to follow the rule of thirds. So that means you don't want your picture to be directly in the center. You want it to be off to the side a little bit. And you're going to imagine that your screen is broken up into thirds. So thirds vertical and thirds horizontal. And notice my face fits directly on one of the thirds, or the vertical thirds, and one of the horizontal thirds. And that's why me sitting off to the side is actually more interesting than if I sat in the middle. When you have a focal point, you want it to be easy to spot. It should jump out at you. It should be what you're emphasizing in the picture. So if your picture's really busy, it's going to be hard to tell what your focal point is. But again, if it's just the one thing in your picture that you're looking at and you have a lot of negative space, that's not going to be very interesting either. So you've got to find that happy medium or that balance between the two. So continue watching this video to learn how to do your assignment.
So in Seesaw, I have provided a picture of pumpkins for you. Screenshot this and then open up Sketches School. Open a new page. And to bring in a picture, you want to click on the three little dots at the top, the box with the arrow pointing in, photo, and then select your picture. Now here is where the most important part comes in. This is where you'll do your cropping. You want to zoom in and really focus only on one particular pumpkin for your focal point. You can practice turning it around, going to different places. Think about what is most interesting to you. I personally am not happy with the stems pointing downward, so I like to have mine point upward, so I'll twist my picture so the stems point in a different direction. I'm also going to make sure that I'm only looking at one pumpkin in particular, but it's not directly in the middle. Remember that rule of thirds. You want it sitting off to the side just a little bit. Okay, I think I have finally found the pumpkin I want to focus on, and there's not much going on in the background. It's off to the side, it fits in my rule of thirds, and when I'm finished, I'm going to hit that check mark. So now we need to trace our picture because next week we're going to work on coloring it and shading it. So I'm going to use the second pen tool. I'm going to make sure I'm on the smallest setting and that I have black ink. You know, I'm actually going to use a little bit larger setting for this particular picture. And then you're going to carefully trace what's on your screen. Now, I want you to trace each hump of your pumpkin. Do not just go around the outside because that does not give you enough information. Make sure you trace everything that you can see in the picture and really take your time. Remember to occasionally hit the eyeball and take away the picture. And if it still looks like a pumpkin, then you've done a good job. I traced my pumpkin that was a focal point first because he's the most important pumpkin. But then after that, I still need to go around and trace all the other pumpkins in the picture. That is why I took my time and carefully chose a position that had less detail. Make sure you are practicing good line art habits and make sure you exercise using that eraser tool. So if your lines cross over or you shouldn't see one, if you make a mistake, go back and erase or hit undo. When you are finished, save it and upload it to Seesaw.